And Jordan, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Topics today. I'll let you introduce yourself, and then I got some questions for you
Yeah.
about Lead Center.
Yeah. So Jordan Yosby, I work at Integrity. I oversee the LeadCENTER product. So I'm the product manager. And then my team oversees all of the leads that are generated and sold within LeadCENTER too. So um, that includes internet leads, direct mail leads, and then any new features that we're rolling out on LeadCENTER. I kind of work with the development team to decide what we're doing next. Like if we're adding real-time leads, which we realized, Andrew and I were talking a couple weeks ago, like there's just not enough people that realize how awesome real-time leads are. And so we realized a lot of FFL agents just aren't aware that this is an opportunity and it's an exclusive lead. And so that's why he invited me on today, was kind of talk about other stuff that's going on with LeadCENTER, but also the real-time leads. So it's awesome to hear Jimmy have success there.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So a few questions. Can you
Okay.
go over some of the enhancements? One of them being pulling out sold leads.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of talk about the flow of the today I want to talk mostly about real-time leads and real-time calls. But real quick, if you can just go over the flow of the aged leads, like that you now have the software to pull out one. If Jimmy sells one, that it's going to be yanked and suppressed from that system.
Yep. Yep. So basically what we're doing, because LeadCENTER is an integrity product, we know as integrity when a policy hits our books, right? Because we get that information from the carriers, because they're giving us every policy that an integrity agent's written, they're giving us that data. So what we're using that data for now, which I don't think there's any other lead gen company that could do this, we're the only one positioned to do this, is when we see a policy that was sold from a lead that came from our system, we remove that lead so it never gets sold again. So, if you were buying leads from other lead vendors, they're selling the same lead over and over. We do recycle some leads. And basically, historically, what it's meant is the agent has to log into LeadCENTER. They have to mark it as sold and provide the policy number, and then we'll take it out of the system. That way we know if a policy was sold, we won't ever, sell that lead again. If that doesn't happen, from the time you buy it, so let's say you're buying a diamond lead, which is our highest, our highest quality internet lead, that lead 30 days later is going to go back into our inventory at the silver category or whatever it would be. I think it would be titanium category. So that means another agent now could buy that lead and contact that person, which you probably don't care at that point because you've
Not
done your
sold it.
dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't sold them a policy. You don't. It doesn't really matter. But if you did sell them a policy, that's an issue because they could replace that policy. So we've automated all of that. So now once you've sold a policy, when we see that policy come from the carrier, we take the lead out so it doesn't get sold again. And again, other lead gen companies are doing the same thing. They recycle the leads. If you're buying age leads, I guarantee someone else has worked it, but they would never have any clue that you wrote a policy on it.
Yeah.
They're not get that data from you, but we do know that. And so we aren't going to put that lead back in, which means even if you're buying the aged leads, you're not going to get people that bought policies. So as we have this sale starting tomorrow, that's 80% off. Those aren't people, none of those will be people that just recently got a policy, because we're scrubbing that every day. It's automated. Yeah. So does that kind of get into what you wanted to talk about,
Yep,
Andrew?
definitely. Okay, so there's on some leads now, there's a lead score.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about what that is? Because a lot of people like, why does this show a lead score? What does that mean? And is that on
Yeah.
real time? Is that on aged? Is that on everything? Is that for everyone? Is it just for some people?
So right now it's on leads that are internet leads if the consumer was older than 55 years old. And soon we'll have that score on all leads that are internet leads. So probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll have a score on every internet lead. that we assign it a score. And what that is using all of this enrollment data, we know which types of leads are likely to be those that are going to convert for you, because we have all the lead data, all the enrollment data, and we have a data science team. So the data science team built, think chat GPT, machine learning, AI, all of that. They built a model to say, what are those things that determine if someone's likely to enroll? And so and that score directly correlates with the likelihood of that person to enroll. So it's a score of 0 to 100. The higher the number, the more likely. So if you have a score above a 90, you're going to see on average 15 to 20% conversion rates
And
on
you
those
know
leads.
that because you guys can see how many
Oh yeah,
people
we
are
can see
buying
the data.
policies.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this
exactly.
isn't
We
a
know.
guess.
This isn't a guess, right? Yeah. So like I said, the higher so I think for your agents and your team, at this point, it's primarily useful to help prioritize, right? Like if I bought leads and some of them have score, the higher scores are the ones I should call first, and I should call again, and I should call again. And the lower scores, I might not want to put as much effort on those ones, because we're taking demographic data, household income data, stuff like that to determine like what's the likelihood of this person actually enrolling. We're building towards some cool stuff in the future where that score, that you'd be able to choose leads based on the score. So hey, I only want leads that scored a 90 or above. So that's what this is kind of building towards. But
So
in the
in the
meantime,
future, you can go, I want to buy high score leads, and the price is going to be dependent
yeah,
on. We
yeah,
should
exactly.
ask everybody in the chat. So this is just our new base shop that you're on, Jordan. Like this is our new. We have all these agents, but these are our new agents that we're bringing on weekly in a kind of like um,
Leg.
a new leg we're building.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's what this call's for. But if you're on this call, can you put a thumbs up in the chat if you would like to buy leads based off of score, not age? So a lead that's older with a super high score, you would it would be more expensive. A lead that has a lower score, even if it's new, would be less expensive. Would people do you think people would like that, or would they just want new to old? And Jordan, you guys are deciding if you're going to make this move right now, right?
Yeah, so we have a test group, and if anyone on this call wants to be part of that test group, let us know. That we've rolled out the ability to buy and score, and we're determining like, is that working out for them? Does it help their conversion? So far, indicators are yes. It's like they're seeing higher conversion rates because they know like I can buy these leads, they're higher scoring. But yeah, we're trying to determine anything we roll out, we're testing it first. So we're trying to decide, okay, now do we roll this out to everyone? So
Got it. Okay. So lead score, if you guys want to be a part of that, you can just drop a message in the chat and we can follow up with you guys. The purpose of this call is to talk about real-time campaigns, not the stuff we just went over, but this is all good information. Real-time campaigns is not where you go in and buy a diamond or a gold or a silver lead. You actually set up your own campaign. You put your own criteria on what zip codes you would want leads in. You can pick, Jordan, is it by zip code or county you can pick?
either one. So you can set it up by zip code or county.
So if you wanted all the leads in your own zip code, let's say a lot don't come in, but when they do come in and you have your campaign on, you're going to get a lead right in your zip code. You could
Right.
go knock on their door.
Yeah, and I think the other main difference, they're basically the same price as our diamond leads, but you're getting it instantaneously. So if it's a data lead, you're going to get it right when that person hits submit on the form. So that speed delay that Jimmy talked about, like being on the phone and them remembering what they filled out, that's going to be super important with real-time leads. And then the other aspect of it is you get exclusivity to those leads. We don't resell those leads. So it's a lot higher quality from multiple aspects. You're going to be the only one calling them, and you're going to be the first one to call them. Like you can get that data. You could go knock on that person's door that same day that they filled it out.
Now, how much is a real-time internet lead?
A real-time internet lead. I think it's 9, but I'm just going to confirm.
So nine
So
bucks.
They're the same as the mailers.
yeah, $9. $9 for a real-time internet lead.
Okay, so $9 for a real-time internet lead. You can set your campaign to how many you want per day, right?
Yep. So you'll set it per week. Like I want 10 of these a week or 50 of these a week. And they'll ask you, do you want a daily threshold so you don't get all 50 in the first day? So, that might be a little overwhelming. So if you wanted to say, I want 10 a day or 8 a day so that you can kind of space them out throughout the week, that's as you go through the setup process, you select all that. Yep.
And $9 never resold after I buy them,
Yep.
and they come in real time. Now, what percentage are we going to get credits on? Because I've been doing this a long time, man, and there's never been an internet lead source that has not had BS in it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what percentage people are requesting credit on?
We do. It's definitely lower than the age leads because we have, I mean, people that fill out forms, they might change their phone number. And if we're buying a 90-day-old lead, that might have been the right phone number when we bought it, right? So you're going to have a lower credit uh, request percentage. I would say it's probably under 10%, probably even lower than that. But it's all the same credit reasons. So if you try and call that person and they don't, it's a disconnected phone number, we'll give you a refund still. So we're not saying, hey, there's no credits available for the real time
So,
leads.
so if so, for an agent, just expect to have some BS and request credit, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean
And
that's the nature of the game. And a lot of that's people, some of it's bot traffic. We do a lot. And I know I've talked to your team in the past,
yeah,
probably
talk
not
about it again though. Talk about how
so
much you're doing to try to stop the bots, the BS, and all that stuff.
right. So we have multiple layers before the lead even gets to LeadCENTER. So we're checking Experian, we're checking another data provider called Verisk, we're checking a different data provider called Trestle, another phone validation provider. We have an email validation. So before it even gets to LeadCENTER, we've checked like 5 or 6 services to see, is this a valid email? Is this a valid phone? So that we're trying to get rid of all of the garbage and it's not getting to you. And we just put some more measures
How
on.
does some of it slip through though?
Some of it's like the frequency of those third-party data providers, how often they update their database, right? Like if they're updating it weekly or monthly. If you think about Experian gets credit data, but they don't get credit data as of yesterday. Like you might be getting credit data monthly from Experian. So some of it just slips through the cracks, but we're constantly putting in measures. So for example, we have a validation provider called Jornaya, and you might see that in LeadCENTER when you log in. Some of your leads will say this is Jornaya verified, and some will say this is trusted form verified, and some will say both.
Mm-hmm.
We'll always have for internet leads those validation partners. And we just did a call with them yesterday to look at what percentage of our leads, for example, are over an hour old or sat on the landing page for under 5 seconds. So if we see someone that's sitting on the landing page for under 5 seconds and filling out the form, we're not going to accept
Well,
that.
we also
So
have the video of the screen recording of them
yeah,
filling out
exactly.
the
And if
form
we need
too.
it, we have this screen recording exactly
So if you're on
to
here, like when someone requests a credit, they can go watch them fill it out.
yeah.
So like they can see what the form was, what they filled out, which is super cool. Real quick, Tim asked a question. Tim, you put, this is awesome that ILC goes above and beyond finding out if a lead is sold, but I'm curious, how does the ILC actually find this out?
Yeah. So the way we find it out, like I said, because Integrity is our parent company, just transparently. Integrity's Andrew's boss, basically,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, so
So
Integrity can see every policy being bought
yep, they're seeing every policy coming in from the
because
carrier.
it's
So
all essentially under them.
yep. So that's when we take the data from the policies coming in and we match it to any data from leads sold.
So
So
you
does that,
it's called like querying or something, right?
yeah,
Going
we
through this.
query it in a database. We say, Was the address the same? Was the phone number the same? Was the email the same? Any of those, say, okay, that's the same person. And then we remove it from our
All right,
inventory.
so Frank Alvera asked the question in that really what this whole call's about, which is announcing live transfers.
Yep.
Now, uh, just to rewind on real time lead campaigns, you're going to go into Integrity Lead Center. You're going to click on create a real time campaign.
Hmm.
And
There's
then
a tab called real-time campaigns.
you want
Exactly.
to show us real quick, Jordan?
Yep. Yep. Let me jump in there.
So there's a tab called real time campaigns. And now you can click data leads or live calls. And we're going to go through everything about the live calls on here in a second.
All right. So I am in our QA environment. So when you're logged in, you'll go to real-time campaigns, click new campaign, name your campaign, whatever you want to name it. Select data or calls. So you can see if I want calls, I'll select calls. If I want data, I want data. Data leads are just going to be basically like if you were ordering leads from the order leads tab, it's going to come over with the information of the consumer. Calls, your phone's going to actually ring, which I'll get to that in a second. Then we have health or life. So you select life. Then we have, sorry, I'm doing data. Let me switch to calls. So let's select life. Our live transfers are $55. That's from the time that you actually connect with the consumer. So the way it'll work is you'll receive a phone call when we have someone in the area that you selected. And when you answer, it will ask you to press 1 to accept the call. Once you press 1, that's when you would be charged the $55. So if you don't press 1, you're not going to get charged the $55. If you don't answer the phone, you're not going to get charged the $55. But we would really like you to answer the phone, because part of how this works is if we have agents not answering the phone, our vendors are going to stop sending us calls. So
Yeah.
agents will sometimes say, like, I set up a campaign, I missed a couple calls, and then I stopped receiving calls. It's like, yeah, because they're not going to send you calls if
If
you're
you
not
don't
answering the
answer.
phone. Yeah, because they've already spent the money to drive that call in. Like, they already paid to market to someone and get them to
Mm-hmm.
call. And these are going to be transferred from a third party agency or a contact center, basically. So someone that's done some initial marketing qualifications or sales qualification questions to ask the person, like, hey, just wanted to confirm you're interested in a final expense product or a life insurance product. Let's gather some information from you, and then they'll connect the call with you.
Now, Jordan, does that information, let's say I don't sell it. Does that information that they collected on the front end end up in in my lead center?
So what will end up when you connect with that call, we automatically create a new lead of that person's phone number. We don't get the data post with the other information yet. We're working on that, but you will see the consumer's phone number, and then you could add like their address and what you talked about when you're in your manage
But it
leads.
will be in my manage lead section.
Yeah, yeah,
So
you will
even if
see
I
the
don't
lead.
sell it, I could go knock on their door.
Yeah,
Will I
yeah,
have their
or
address?
call them back. You could call them back, yeah, and say, hey, if you got disconnected for whatever reason, or if you wanted to continue the conversation, or they said, sometimes that sales process might take 20-30 minutes, and someone might not have time right then and there, but you'll have their data in your managed leads to call back. So
Okay. So um if this little tab at the top right that says I'm available, for people who don't know anything about this, and Integrity is doing a lot to improve quality and make this easier for people to do what we do and make us help agents help more people. So it keeps getting better and better and better and better. But this I'm available tab is really cool because if you check that off, you will not receive any calls, right, Jordan?
yep. So
So
you're basically checking in and out. So if you want to stop receiving calls, you just turn it off.
so
Yeah.
I show up to work, I got my computer up, I'm going to go take a lunch break. I don't want calls while I'm eating lunch. I check it off, but then I don't miss calls and then it doesn't screw up the vendor relationships. Um Now, Jordan, Is there any type of credit for this lead?
Yeah. So we have credit reasons that if you get on the phone call and the person was a duplicate already in your system, or their age didn't qualify for the product that you're selling them. So there's 5 or 6 credit reasons that you can still request a credit
And these are
for a
all in your
phone call.
system.
Yeah, these are all in the system.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we're trying to get you quality leads, and if someone got connected with you that call center didn't do their due diligence and ask the right questions before they transferred them to you, then we'll get you a credit on that lead.
Yeah, so guys, this is like this is some really cool technology because I've done live transfers before where if they call your phone and you don't pick up, you're getting billed because they called someone, they created the lead, they transferred them to your phone, you didn't pick up, that's your fault. They send you an email, say this is the person's info, you call them back. I'm billing you for your I'm billing you. Now, the other way to look at this whole thing is like this. If you bought 10 leads, how many people are going to answer?
One or two.
Okay. And so if you just bought one live transfer, you're guaranteed to get somebody on the phone because you don't pay unless someone's on the phone. Now, are you going to sell them all? No, you're not going to sell them all. Um, are they all going to be laydowns? No, we don't live in a perfect world. But with volume, you're telling me that we can't help a number of people that actually requested to talk to an agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be people that are going to shop and they're just shopping. They just want a price, whatever it is. And there's going to be people like me where I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to buy right now whatever they show me because I'm like, dude, I just need to get it done and I don't want to worry about it later. So you're going to find both of those people. So if you start this campaign, Jordan, I have a question actually, because this is interesting, and I don't know if you have the answer for this yet, because this is brand new. If I start a campaign in Las Vegas and I want 25 calls a week, there is eventually a cap on how many calls can be created. I'm
Yeah.
sure, right?
Like overall. So if you and yeah, yeah, I
So if
mean,
me and 50 agents in Las Vegas want these calls, eventually they're going to go, well, there's not enough for whatever 100 agents in Las Vegas to receive these calls. Now, if I'm the first one to my order, is it going to be filled first, or is it going to be based on volume? How's that going to work?
so right now it's just round robin. So basically, if 2 agents have a campaign set up in the same area, agent A will get a lead, agent B will get the next lead. It just alternates between the two. So we might not fulfill your order of 25 or 50 leads in Las Vegas at the end of the week, but the good news is the way the payment works. You put money on a card. So basically we have this
Can
thing
you show
called
that real quick? Because this is
yeah.
sick.
So we have LeadCENTER Cash. So once you're ready to launch your campaign, it's going to ask you to deposit at least the minimum amount, which is $55 because it's one lead, right? So we need you to have at least $55 in your account for us to start sending you calls. So it's not costing you any more than one lead to get started. But then once you're ready, so I'm going to agree to these terms, you can go to your account settings. And so as soon as your account balance, so I'm going to go under my wallet. As soon as this gets under $55, my campaign would turn off. But we have this feature that says you can configure your auto reloading your LeadCENTER cache. So let's say anytime it gets under $55, I want to add another $100 or another even $55. So that way you're always only getting billed for what you're receiving. You're not having to pay us $500, which I know there's some other lead systems that require you to basically put a deposit down in full for whatever you're saying you want. And then you have this credit with them forever. This way you can just say, I want you to hit my card every lead that I receive. Or if you're not wanting it to, hit your card and have a million credit card transactions, you could do a higher amount too. Like anytime it gets under $55, charge my card $500. And that way you'll always kind of have a cash balance to carry. But that's how the billing works. And
Can
so
you
as long as
show
you have,
the vouchers? Like, what if Uncle Jimmy wants to do a contest and buy his agent some leads and give them a voucher?
yep. So anybody that's if you have agents in your downline, then you should be able to see this vouchers tab. So if you can't, then just reach out to support and we'll figure it out. And you can create a voucher. Vouchers can be used to pay for anything on LeadCENTER. So if I want to create a life voucher, I'm good with it being for any lead type, including our real-time leads. I'm a sorry, I don't know why that's saying that. I'm logged in an account for a different BU. That's why that's saying that. So
Oh, that's
I
fine.
can select the BU and then I can assign the agent. So if I wanted to say this is going to go to tester agent, I'm going to give them $100 to spend on leads in LeadCENTER. They have until the 31st to spend it. There's going to be, I want them to spend it within these states. You can use your LeadCENTER cash to pay for it, or you can just use your credit card. So I'm going to pay for this. Once the voucher's created, if the agent does not use the voucher, so you can see I've got all these vouchers in my account, then if they don't use it by that end date, the money just goes back into your wallet.
That's
So this is
cool.
the way, this is a way for you to, and you can revoke it at any time. So if you're seeing, hey, that agent's not producing, I don't want to really give them a reward, you can revoke it and assign it to someone else. But if they don't use it by that date, it will just automatically get put back into your wallet.
What other cool features are we missing?
So the only other thing I was going to make sure we covered today was within your account settings. So after you've created your real-time campaign, since we've been focusing on that, make sure that you have your campaign set to active. If you ever have, like Jimmy said, he works in 27 states. He might not want 27 campaigns running all at once, but he could set them up by state if he wanted. So if he ever wants to deactivate a state level campaign, you just need to deactivate it here. So when you check in, you're only checking in for those areas that you want leads from. So make sure your campaigns are set to active that you want active. And then in your account settings, you just need to make sure this life leads is toggled on. So if you have health real-time campaigns, you'll want that one toggled on too, but make sure you select this life lead so that this way you can control at a campaign level, but then also at like a lead source level, life or health, which ones you want. And this is where you put your phone number to for where you want those calls directed to. So once I've done those two things, I'm ready to check in and then I'll start receiving calls.
Now, if you're not checked in, will you receive data leads?
Yeah, data leads, you don't have to be checked in. You'll get an email notification. We're working on also sending you a text whenever you get a data lead. So that should be live next month, that you'll get a text anytime you get a data lead. So then you can just click the text and call the lead.
Got it. Okay. Sick. All right, let me make sure there's no other questions. I think we are good. So Jordan, thank you, man. Uncle Jimmy, thank you.